Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Friday the 6th of September 2019, and we're providing Dr. Richard North's commentary on Brexit published earlier today. Now every day, Dr. Richard North publishes a blog on Brexit, updating us with his views on what is happening in this rather complicated and turbulent area of British politics. His blog is published within our Inner Sanctum. Now, whilst we would not normally publish it here, because we have interviewed Journo Marcus and controversially Greg in recent days and published their interviews as to where we are with Brexit, we were going to interview Richard, but to be frank, his blog today actually provides us with as up-to-date a position as we're going to find and highlights his thoughts on the matter. So it makes sense just to read it aloud. But before we do that, we wish to point out how important the Brexit issue is. Now, we fully understand that if you live in the United States or Canada or Australia or any other part of the non-European world, you may think that Brexit has no influence or bearing on your daily lives. To some extent that is true, and in other ways it most certainly is not. Firstly, if the United Kingdom leaving the EU sets a trend, we could see the European Union in a state of turmoil and disruption, thereby causing, at least in the short term, a degree of economic chaos. We've also seen this within the United Kingdom, with sterling falling dramatically, manufacturing output deteriorating, and businesses holding back investment until more economic certainty abounds. Now, some businesses have been put off coming to the United Kingdom, and others have moved out into other parts of Europe. The Brexit situation is also having an impact on the value of the euro, and those of us involved in precious metals know that the euro-dollar relationship impacts precious metal prices. There is a general contention that the turbulence the Brexit issue is causing is to some extent affecting world trade to the detriment, as investment and purchases are delayed until future terms are better known. So whilst the day-to-day machinations of UK political intrigue has little bearing on the rest of the world, the outcome will have an impact. No one can tell quite how large, but an impact nevertheless. So now on to Richard's article. Here goes. Brexit, a no-deal election. Friday the 6th of September 2019 by Dr. Richard North. After 3 days of frustrating bafflement since the resumption of Parliament after the summer break, there may now be enough clues to give an insight into the current intentions of Boris Johnson regarding Brexit. Initially, it was my supposition that very early on he would seek to engineer a vote of no confidence in the expectation that the combined opposition parties would be unable to produce an alternative government, leaving him to choose a general election of his own timing. With Parliament safely dissolved, that would leave him to run down the clock to a no-deal Brexit, thereby neutralising Farage's single-issue party, whence he could go to the country with a Leave majority behind him and win a working majority against a fractured opposition. The polling date would be set for after Brexit, but soon enough to avoid the adverse effects from walking out without a deal. Unfortunately for the Prime Minister in office, the key players have seen through this ploy. The MP collective has ganged up on him to limit his ability to run down the clock, while Corbyn has denied him a general election, leaving him trapped in the Downing Street bunker with no forces at his disposal. The only thing left for him is now to concede what amounts to a restraining order in return for a pre-Brexit general election on the 15th of October, which he will seek on Monday. His hope is that despite the less favourable conditions, he will be able to win a no-deal mandate with enough time to repeal his current constraints. The opposition parties, having apparently taken no deal off the table, can hardly deny him his election without looking weak. They will probably believe that the humiliation of his current position will reduce Johnson's electoral appeal, giving Corbyn a free run at the premiership, despite the fragmentation of the opposition message. Absolutely crucial here will be the role of Nigel Farage. If he sticks by his promise not to contest Johnson's candidates and puts up a robust fight against Northern Labour seats, he can pull away enough Labour votes in key marginals to open the way for the Lib Dems, thus depriving Corbyn of his winning margin. And although a no deal is an anathema to the chattering classes and the metropolitan elites, the average voter is sick to the back teeth of Brexit and just wants to see it over. Johnson's message of preferring to die in a ditch rather than prolong the agony will have considerable appeal to the rank and file. The strength of his position is not to be underestimated. Thus, we are looking at a strong possibility of a no-deal general election. On the one side will be that Johnson with his band of anti-EU Brexit warriors offering the pure and beguiling simple "get out now" message. On the other, we will have a mixed bag of competing opposition parties. Some, like the Lib Dems, will stand on an outright revoke platform. Labour may plump for the second referendum, but would almost certainly blur their message in an attempt to keep their northern voters on side. That may be enough to give Johnson the game, even though he may lack a clear majority of the electorate. Like the man running from the bear, he doesn't have to beat the bear. He just has to run faster than the man next to him. The one thing that could scupper his game is the opposition parties exercising a self-denying ordinance and refusing to take the election bait on Monday, when Rees-Mogg has confirmed a vote will be held. And this is a distinct possibility if the Telegraph newspaper is to be believed. Interestingly, if Johnson's administration doesn't get its vote before Parliament closes down next week, it will be caught by its own prorogation and will be unable to mount an election before the October European Council. In theory, Johnson would then be bound by the restraining order and be forced into a fate worse than dying in a ditch, extending Article 50 period to the end of January, assuming the Council will of course give him the extension. That would put him in a very different electoral position, having to fight a November election, psychologically the worst time of the year to have a contest, with all the uncertainty of the delay, and having breached his do-or-die promise. Alternatively, Johnson's team may be looking for a way of circumventing his restraining order, looking at legal advice that will tell him that the bill requiring him to extend Article 50 will need the Queen's consent, which he will obviously withhold. And then there is the idea of the government launching its own vote of no confidence. Chasing after either of these ideas may prove to be a forlorn hope, but recent experience warns of caution. It ain't over until it's over, and you can never judge what a trapped feral animal will do, especially if you have it penned in a ditch. So there we have it, an uncertain future with a Prime Minister with limited options and difficult ones, and at this stage a degree of uncertainty as to whether Brexit will actually occur or not. Now, since the attempts of the opposition to remove what is commonly called a hard Brexit from the Prime Minister's weaponry, we have actually seen sterling increase against the dollar from a little over $1.19 to the pound to the current level of $1.23. and the price of gold and silver have fallen in direct proportion to that increase in value, plus a further decline in their prices, for the reasons we've given in another video we published today, entitled "Why Did Silver Prices Fall Yesterday?" We've put a link below. At the time of writing, gold is standing at £1,229, down some £53 since its recent high, and silver stands at £15.15, down some £1.05 from its recent high. Of course, we're still awaiting the jobs report, and that will determine to some extent whether prices will rise further or fall. Naturally, we are entering into uncharted waters, both politically and legally, and the next few days will indeed witness some interesting spectacles. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.